Alright, let's get straight into it. This is a fully simulated season start run where I purposely don't allocate certain amounts of skill points throughout the game until I complete enough renown objectives in those areas, as well as only using aspects I unlock by completing its relevant dungeon. You'll see, even with a fully simulated run, this build still achieves level 20 in just over an hour, level 30 in less than 3 hours, and level 40 in 4 hours and 46 minutes on Druid. And it's Lightning Storm Druid as well. It's not Tornado, it's not Pulverize, it's not Landslide, Shred, it's Lightning Storm. Okay. And all that is due to just how powerful Lightning Storm is during these portions of the game. This build is seriously so good, and by far, in my experience, the best all-around leveling build for early game. I highly recommend using a staff, as it feels the best and helps one-shot normal mobs throughout most of the early game, and makes your resource go that extra mile until you get all the resource generation that you need to make the build feel as good as possible. And one tip I'm going to showcase again here, as with the last Druid video, is you want to put bosses up against the environment, where I try to do so here, and then he's kind of annoying and doesn't charge, but there he goes. And you can see him getting hit by multiple instances of the lightning storm just because he's up against a wall. And that'll help out with single target DPS quite a lot. Throughout the video, you'll see me trampling elites into the environment around them, and that seriously helps out, just like there, to get that single target DPS that feels generally lacking. And there will be a max roll build guide below the video in the description or several comments below, and feel free to skip to the last couple minutes of the video to see the setup in its entirety as I try to prepare to do the capstone dungeon. And this route that you see me completing here is very specific for a lot of reasons that I can't get into during the course of this short video. However, I'll explain in detail the exact route to do. Level 1 to 5, you'll want to do Kyovashad events that are west and east of Kyovashad. Level 5 to 18, you'll want to do Hoarfrost Demise, which is just northeast of Bear Tribe Refuge. Level 18 to 22, you'll want to do the side quests that you get from Bear Tribe Refuge. Level 22 to 28, you'll want to do the dungeon you see me completing here, Hollowed Glacier. And level 28 to 32, you'll want to unlock the aspect dungeons and complete any strongholds you want in the meantime to help you get up to level 32 if the dungeons aren't enough. And level 32 to 40 plus, you'll want to do Temple of Rot. The aspect dungeons for this build go Old Stones for Edge Masters, Mariner's Refuge for the Overcharge, Seaside Descent for Aspect of Retaliation, Champion's Demise, everyone's favorite dungeon, but you actually have to complete it to get Aspect of the Umbral, and Halls of the Damned is just for hardcore players if uh, for the armor stacking. If you don't care about the armor stacking or survivability, feel free to just ignore Halls of the Damned entirely and complete a couple strongholds for world completion in the meantime to get you up to level 32. And you can see in the video, even at level 27, I'm still using Wind Shear with the 3 spirit gain per enemy hit after the primary target's been hit, because it's simply just superior to Lightning Strike until you get a few key passives and all of your spirit boons and the overcharge aspect, because all of that counts as lightning damage, lucky hit specifically. And so once you change Wind Shear to Lightning Strike, you'll be able to really start making the damage just go crazy. And here we see the first visit to Tordora, and you'll see the aspects I unlock in detail in just a moment. Here, at this point in time, you'll want to change Wind Shear to Lightning Strike. You'll want to get damage reduction from elites, attack speed, fortify, and overload. And you want the fortify over the spirit because as soon as you get the perfect storm passive, you don't have too much trouble getting enough spirit to make the build feel good. However, I do go back later and add that spirit gain once I unlock all of the boons and the spirit bonding and I bond to deer so that, or I bond to wolf so that I can get the, whichever one gets me the spirit gain on lucky hit. And butcher kill for good measure. And you'll see here, this is me completing all of the aspect dungeons and completing the full simulation run so that I can get a real feel for how the build's going to play at season start. And soon, here, hardcore players beware, Temple of Rot. Now, Raxantarax, shout out to him, showed everyone how overpowered this stronghold is specifically for leveling. But even in his video, he shows himself almost dying. And in my experience, I almost died like every other run if I didn't play it perfectly. If you play it perfectly and you're very confident in yourself, no need to worry. But especially when the mobs hit level 40 and they scale up and they hit that level 40 power spike, it's especially dangerous. And actually, I stop using this to level once I hit around level 40 because at that point it's just too dangerous because the mobs here don't drop enough gear to really make it sustainable. You're not getting gear upgrades very often. But as you can see here, up until that point, you can just basically one tap, two tap these elites, just push them up against the wall, stack them together like that, one, two, three, and then they're just disappear. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It ended up being around 1 bar of XP every 30 seconds once I min-maxed the route completely, and if I played perfectly. Obviously, 4 hours in, I was feeling a little bit lackadaisical, and I wasn't playing perfectly anymore, or as well as I could have, and that ended up hurting my time a little bit. But, you know, we're just humans, right? None of us are perfect. And in this video, sadly I didn't have the time to show myself preparing for the capstone dungeon or completing the capstone dungeon as of yet. However, in the next video, if you guys truly want to, I can show you how to complete that capstone dungeon with the lightning storm build. It doesn't feel nearly as good, of course, as a lot of other builds that are just mechanically more sound because lightning storm is only really good if something's up against a wall or multiple things are stacked together. But that's that. And here we're about to go into the build in depth back in Kyovashad. So you want to put, I always put Edge Masters on gloves. You want to double up your Aspect of Retaliation on your staff, Disobedience on neck for hardcore, Umbral on ring, and Overcharge on ring as well. And the overcharge scales off of your level and the item level, so it's kind of important to put it on one of the highest offensive item levels that you have. And here we see the spirit boons. We just went over that earlier. And here I respec the entire skill tree to show the skills that I would want to have at this point in time, -6 skill points because earlier in the video it's level 40. It's a level 40 video, and this is me remembering that, oh, I need to do this really quickly before I get too far into the leveling. I end up taking the immobilize portion of the lightning storm over the extra lightning strike because it's better single target DPS and it helps stagger bosses just that much faster to get all the other synergies working in full hyperdrive because you're not going to hit a boss with that extra lightning storm hit that you get from the other passive, so I just figured of course it would be better. And here, those top 2 lightning damage passives, once you get rank 3 in both of those, you'll definitely want to be using Lightning Strike and you will feel a massive difference in your DPS just from those 2 alone. It's kind of insane, honestly. And that's how you start to 1-tap and 2-tap elites and whole packs of monsters. It just goes crazy. And, well, that's the build. Yeah, I had a really great time playing this build. I hope everyone else does too. And a quick shout out to everyone giving me tips and tricks on how to further refine the build and further refine the leveling route. Cheers.